Jeremy Williams sat in his car at 11 p.m. watching dashcam footage for the third time. His hands were shaking. And here's the thing about watching proof of betrayal. You keep hoping you're wrong. You keep thinking maybe the angle's bad, maybe it's someone else, maybe there's an explanation. But there wasn't. The timestamp showed 7:43 p.m. His wife Stacy's car pulled into a quiet suburban street, not the hospital where she said her father was dying. She parked outside a modest two-story house, checked her reflection in the rearview mirror the way women do when they want to look good for someone, and walked to the front door. A man Jeremy had never seen opened it. Mid-40s, graying hair, kind eyes. Stacy hugged him. The door closed. Then Jeremy's phone buzzed. Text from Stacy. "Dad's asleep. I'll be home in the morning. Love you." Pause. This is where most people would confront immediately. Storm in, demand answers. Jeremy didn't. Because he noticed something in the footage that made his blood run cold. A pink children's bike in the driveway. And suddenly, he wasn't just dealing with infidelity. He was dealing with the possibility that his wife had an entire other family. Jeremy called in sick to work, started tracking his wife like she was a stranger, and if I'm being honest, this is where the marriage was already over, not because of what she was doing, but because he couldn't just ask her. That's what fear does. It makes investigators out of husbands. Monday, hospital. He followed her there, watched her go inside, checked with the front desk. Her father was actually admitted. Room 412. Legitimate. Tuesday. Working late. She drove to the same house. 3 hours inside. Wednesday. Book club. The house again. Thursday. Hospital. Real visit. Friday. Grocery shopping. 5 hours at the house. Every single time, the same routine. She'd check her surroundings like someone afraid of being caught, smooth her hair, knock 3 times. The man would answer, always kind, always warm, like he was expecting her. But here's what broke Jeremy. On day 7, he watched Stacy leave the house carrying a casserole dish and crying. Not guilty crying, not ashamed crying, peaceful crying, like she'd just had the best day of her life. Through the living room window, Jeremy spotted something that made his entire theory collapse. A hospital bed, and someone's hand, elderly and frail, reaching out to wave goodbye to Stacy. Pause. This is the moment most people miss in stories like this. The moment where the truth starts whispering, but you're too angry to hear it. Saturday morning. Stacy came home to Jeremy waiting at the kitchen table. Laptop open, dashcam footage queued up. "I know about him," he said. "I know about the house. I know you've been lying for weeks." Stacy's face drained of color. "Jeremy, I can explain." "Don't." His voice cracked. "Don't insult me with more lies. Who is he? How long have you been sleeping with him?" And here's what I noticed when I first read this. Stacy didn't get defensive. She didn't yell back. She just looked hurt, like he'd misunderstood something fundamental. "You think I'm cheating?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "Jeremy, that's my father." "Your father is in the hospital." "No." Tears filled her eyes. "My father is dying in that house. The man you think I'm having an affair with, that's David. He's been taking care of Dad because I can't afford hospice care." Jeremy froze. Sometimes the truth doesn't feel like relief. It feels like you've been punched in the stomach. "Your father? You told me he abandoned you when you were 6. You told me he was probably dead somewhere." Stacy pulled out her phone with shaking hands, showed him a Facebook message from 2 months ago. A stranger named David Pritchard. A photo of a skeletal man hooked to oxygen, holding a faded picture of 6-year-old Stacy. "I thought he was dead too," she whispered. "Mom lied. About everything." Jeremy insisted on going with her. He needed to see this man, needed to understand. David Pritchard opened the door looking exhausted but genuinely warm. "You must be Jeremy. She talks about you constantly. Come in." The house smelled like hospital antiseptic mixed with vanilla candles, that specific smell of someone trying to make death feel like home. Leonard was in a hospital bed in the converted living room, oxygen mask on, body so frail it barely made an impression under the blankets. When he saw Jeremy, His eyes lit up. The husband. Leonard removed his oxygen mask, coughed. Stacy said you're an architect. Built that community center on 5th Street? Jeremy nodded, stunned that this dying man knew anything about him. I drove by it 17 times, Leonard said. Kept thinking, my son-in-law made that. Made me proud. Pause. This is the part most people overlook. Leonard didn't defend himself, didn't make excuses. He just said what mattered. Stacy didn't tell you about me because she's protecting you. She thinks she's too broken to deserve you. His breathing was labored. I taught her that. You didn't, Stacy started. I let your mother convince me I wasn't worth fighting for. I gave up. You learned from me that people leave. That's on me. Leonard looked directly at Jeremy. She thinks if you see her fall apart when I die, you'll leave too. Don't. Jeremy drove home alone while Stacy stayed with her father. He sat in his driveway for an hour, engine off, replaying everything. The accusations, her devastated face, the way she'd said, "You think I'm cheating?" Like it was the worst possible misunderstanding. He texted, "I'm sorry. I should have asked instead of assumed. I should have trusted you." 3 hours. No response. Then, "I'm sorry I lied. I was scared." And if I'm being honest, this is where most marriages either break or become unbreakable. That moment where both people admit they failed each other. Jeremy drove to Home Depot at midnight, bought wood, tools, paint. Worked in his garage for 18 straight hours, barely sleeping, hands blistering. Sunday evening, he showed up at Leonard's house carrying something he'd made, a handmade memory box engraved "Leonard and Stacy, the years we lost, the time we have left." Inside, disposable cameras to document every remaining day, a journal for Leonard to write letters Stacy could read after he died, and a USB drive labeled "For when you're ready to be angry at me." Leonard opened the box, saw the journal, and broke down. "I don't deserve this. I don't deserve her." Jeremy knelt beside the bed. "Neither did I," he said quietly, "but she gave me a chance anyway." Sometimes love isn't about deserving. It's about showing up. Leonard had a good day, alert, laughing, actually eating solid food. Stacy brought old family photo albums. Leonard studied a picture of 6-year-old Stacy missing her front teeth. "I remember this. You lost it eating an apple at the park." Stacy froze. "You remember?" "I remember everything up until your mom told me you were dead. Then, nothing felt real anymore." They traded memories for hours. Her first bike, the time she broke her arm climbing a tree, Tuesday dinners with tuna casserole. Then Leonard asked the question that made the whole room hold its breath. "Do you hate me for believing her? For not fighting harder?" Pause. This is where things get complicated, because the easy answer is, no, of course not. But real grief isn't that clean. Stacy took a long time to answer. "I wanted to hate you," she finally said. "When David first messaged me, I ignored it for 3 days. I thought, why does he get to be dying and forgiven just because he's sad now?" Tears streamed down her face. "But then I came here. I saw the pictures you kept, the private investigator's report, the grave you visited for 30 years, and I realized we were both her victims." She paused. "But yes, part of me hates you, because I needed you, and you weren't there." Leonard nodded, crying, "Good, you should. I hate me too." Jeremy noticed something strange. Every Tuesday for 6 weeks, Stacy made tuna casserole. His wife, who claimed she couldn't cook, who hated being in the kitchen, was suddenly making the same dish weekly. One Tuesday, he secretly followed her to Leonard's house, watched through the window. Stacy burned the casserole, badly, smoke coming out of the dish. Leonard laughed, said something Jeremy couldn't hear. Stacy laughed too, crying at the same time. They ate the burnt casserole together, both pretending it was delicious. Later, Jeremy asked David, "Why casserole?" David's face softened. When Stacy was 5, before everything fell apart, Leonard made tuna casserole every Tuesday, called it daddy-daughter dinner. It was their thing. She's trying to give him back that memory. And here's what hit me when I first heard this. She wasn't just reconciling with her father. She was parenting him through his death. giving him back the childhood tradition he'd given her before the world broke both of them. Pause. Sometimes love looks like burning casseroles on purpose, making the same meal every week even though you hate cooking, because it's not about the food. It's about saying, I remember. I remember when you loved me. I remember when we had Tuesdays. That's what forgiveness looks like in real life. David pulled them aside after checking Leonard's vitals. His face was grave. He's declining faster than we expected. We're looking at days, maybe 2 weeks, not the months we hoped for. Stacy collapsed. Jeremy caught her. I just got him back, she whispered. It's not enough time. Jeremy made a decision right there. Then we make every second count. He called his boss, took emergency family leave, called Stacy's boss, arranged the same. For the next 13 days, they moved into Leonard's house, converted the dining room into their bedroom. Jeremy worked remotely from the kitchen table. Stacy slept in a chair next to her father's bed. They created the list. Everything Leonard wished he'd done with Stacy. Teach her poker, watch The Lion King, meet her best friend, Lisa, video call her co-workers so Leonard could tell them, you're lucky to work with her. And on day 5, they did something extraordinary. They staged a vow renewal in the living room. Stacy wore her actual wedding dress. Leonard, in a wheelchair with oxygen, wore a suit jacket over his hospital gown. David officiated. This is where love stops being about forever and becomes about right now. On day 9, Leonard said, I need to tell you about your mother, the real story. Leonard showed them everything. The fake death certificate Patricia had created at Kinko's in 1998, the adoption papers proving he was Stacy's legal father, AA chips from 1996 to 1998, therapy records from a suicide attempt in 1997, and visitor logs from a pet cemetery. 23 years of visits to what Leonard thought was Stacy's grave. Your mother didn't just lie, Leonard said, voice shaking. She told me you died in a car accident, showed me a death certificate. I believed her because I was broken. I was a drunk. I thought it was my fault somehow. Stacy stared at the documents like they were in a foreign language. She told me you abandoned us, that you chose drugs over me. I did choose sobriety over her, Leonard said. When I got clean, I became someone she couldn't control anymore, so she killed you, in my eyes, made me believe you were dead, so I'd kill myself. He coughed, struggling for breath. When that didn't work, she disappeared with you, made sure we'd both live thinking we weren't loved. Pause. Sometimes people don't just lie to protect themselves, they lie to destroy others. Patricia didn't want Leonard, but she couldn't stand the thought of him being happy without her. So she burned both their lives down. I need you to know, Leonard whispered, I never stopped being your father. Not for one single day. Day 11. David officiated. Stacy in her wedding dress, Leonard in his wheelchair, Jeremy's parents crying in the corner. David asked, Leonard, you couldn't give Stacy away the first time? Do you take this opportunity now? Leonard stood. Actually stood, with David and Jeremy holding him up. He took Stacy's hand, placed it in Jeremy's. Jeremy, I'm trusting you with the only thing that matters to me. She's strong, she's broken, she's perfect. Don't let her forget that. I won't, Jeremy said, crying. I promise. They renewed their vows, kissed. Everyone applauded. Then, mid-reception while eating grocery store cake, Leonard stopped breathing. Stacy screamed, No, not yet! Please, Dad, not yet! David checked his pulse. Faint, but there. Leonard wasn't dead. He was sleeping, but everyone in that room knew. This was the beginning of the end. And here's what I've learned about death. It doesn't always come like a storm. Sometimes it comes like a sunset. Slow, beautiful, devastating. Leonard woke up an hour later, smiled at Stacy and said, Best day of my life. She held his hand. Mine too, Dad. Sometimes you get to say goodbye while they're still here. Sometimes death gives you that gift. But not always. And not for long. Day 13. Leonard was barely conscious. Stacy had finally fallen asleep after 36 hours awake. Leonard woke, saw Jeremy keeping watch, waved him closer. Jeremy leaned in. She's going to blame herself, Leonard whispered. When I go, she'll think if she'd found me sooner, forgiven me faster, she could have saved me. You have to tell her I died happy, not at peace, not content, happy, because I got to be her dad again. Jeremy nodded, tears streaming. And when she cries, and she will, for months, don't try to fix it. Don't tell her it's okay. Don't tell her I'm in a better place. Leonard grabbed his hand. Just hold her. Let her be broken. She's been pretending to be whole for so long. Let her shatter. Then help her rebuild. Pause. This is the part that stays with me, because Leonard understood something most people don't. Grief isn't something you fix. It's something you survive. Together. Promise me, Leonard said. Say it. I promise, Jeremy whispered. I'll let her break, and I'll be there when she's ready to heal. Leonard smiled, closed his eyes. Good man, he breathed. She picked a good man. Day 14, 4:47 a.m. Jeremy woke Stacy. He's asking for you. She rushed to Leonard's bedside. His eyes were open, clear, present. Peanut, he smiled. I'm not leaving you. I'm just going ahead. Save me a seat at Tuesday dinner. Stacy sobbed. I love you. I love you so much. I know. I always knew. Even when I thought you were gone, I knew. His eyes closed. His breathing slowed. At 5:12 a.m., Leonard took his last breath. Stacy didn't scream. She whispered, Thank you for coming back. 3 hours later, cleaning his nightstand, she found a sealed envelope. For Stacy, open after I'm gone. Inside, a handwritten letter and a USB drive with 30 videos. One for every birthday Leonard missed. The letter ended with 6 words on a post-it note. You were always enough, Dad. Stacy collapsed in Jeremy's arms. Not grief tears, healing tears. And here's what I've realized about stories like this. They're not really about death. They're about the time we waste being afraid to love people because we think we're not enough, or they're not enough, or love isn't enough. But it is. 6 months later, Tuesday evening, Stacy burned another casserole. Jeremy set the table. They ate together. Best part of your day? He asked. She smiled through tears. This, right now.